Hello and welcome, moms and teachers, to our back-to-school night here at Haven House, Hermitage, Benedictine, and Language Academy. Welcome. This is what we're going to be covering tonight. I know it seems like a lot of information, but every slide will have all of the information you need in writing so you can capture it later if you need it, especially the email address that you need in order to enroll your students, and also the announcement on the first day of class. Spoiler alert, it's September 9th, 2026. Tonight isn't a lesson for your children, it's for you, the parents. I want to walk you through exactly how our live stream Zoom classes work and what your child is going to experience. And most importantly, I want to inform you regarding the safety system, multi-layered, that we've built to protect your child online. If you're considering enrolling, or if you've already enrolled and want the full picture, this video covers everything you need to know before your student ever logs in. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Our live classes, beginning with Year 1 French and Latin, are taught by me, retired Professor Castellane. As a hermit, I'm known as Michaela Joan. But here I am a professor. I have a bachelor's degree in French, a master's in foreign languages, a diplôme d'études françaises de l'Université Paul Valéry à Montpellier-Troyes, and also a graduate certificate in translation. Our classes are held over Zoom. Zoom is a private closed video conferencing tool, not public broadcast. Only enrolled families with a private link that they receive upon enrolling at glynbarbbenedictine at gmail.com, only they receive the link they need to join a live class session. Here's the flow. Classes are held live on Zoom, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, beginning September 9th, 2026, on scheduled class days. The class schedule being sent only to the parents through email from glynbarbbenedictine at benedictine.com per our Academy calendar. The Zoom recording is never streamed live to YouTube. Instead, we hold the recording for a minimum of 24 hours before anything is posted publicly. During that 24-hour cooling off window, every session is reviewed and edited as necessary if there are any type of PPI violations. If a child's or a student's camera accidentally activates, which, spoiler alert, cannot happen, and I'll explain why later. If it were, and to show a face, if a student logged on and accidentally used their real name instead of their alias, or any other personally identifying information slip were to occur, it is cut and edited out before any video ever goes public. Only after that safety review is a version posted to our YouTube channel, and that posting of those episodes is done for several reasons. First and foremost, that becomes a video of the lesson itself that absent students, if they're absent for sickness reasons, family emergency, or something else, this is a way they will be able to make up absences and stay current with class, and they can catch up on it before they come back and join the next live session. It's also for students who enroll late in the year and need to have lessons to work on to get themselves caught up before they join other classes live. And then it's also for wider public, so that parents who are considering enrollment have actually the lessons and understand exactly what's going on inside our school and our academy while they consider enrolling their own students. The 24-hour delay is so important, and it is the single most important technical safeguard we use. It exists for one and one reason only: to make sure no child's real identity is ever exposed, even by accident. Now let's talk avatar and aliases, which actually I think are quite fun and will really help your student. Not only do avatars and aliases have a security function associated with them, but they're also intended for a quality learning experience for your children, which I'll explain. Every enrolled student is set up before their first class with two things: an avatar picture That picture is the only thing that will ever display during their classwork and their class time. It's a clean, appropriate image of their choosing, and it wants something that they think is fun. It could be a favorite character, an animal, their pet, a saint, or anything wholesome. It is never, ever, ever a real photo of the students. And parents, by the way, when you come into the parent meetings, you also will be expected to choose and use an avatar photo that is not yourself when you attend our parent meetings. These are layers of protection for your child. It also has a learning thing. I'll explain that at the end. Second, they'll need an alias. This is a chosen name, a French name, and I ask them to choose a French name because I'll be calling them that name in class, as well as their peers will be calling each other by their French names in class. It needs to be French because it will roll off the tongue more naturally during French and Latin lessons, more so than English names. Once chosen, we ask that students not change it for the entire school year because this actually becomes their identity for the year at least. And it is important because we come to know them by that name, and it gives a consistent classroom identity across time. It would be mind-boggling for me if I had to relearn every class that they've chosen a new name for the day. It just makes class unmanageable, and that's why we ask them to keep the same name. Also, your child's real name and real photo are never used in camera, in chat. They are not allowed to refer to themselves by it. If they make a slip up, that will be edited out, or they cannot use it in any class recording, live or posted. They cannot email each other. This protects your child from being identified by anyone outside of our Academy family. It also lowers the student's anxiety, and let me talk to you just quickly about that. Foreign language learning is no different from learning a language as a baby, toddler, and young child. If you think back, when a child makes a grammar mistake, when they just say me potty, whatever, and they don't use I need to go potty, no one corrects them. They progress through naturally and organically as their brain accomplishes the bio-neurological process of language learning, which is different than the network they've used to develop English. So if we allow mistakes, if we allow the class to giggle about them, the children themselves will naturally smooth out their own language use, both spoken, written, writing, and listening over time. If it lowers anxiety by using the alias and the avatar because they don't feel as embarrassed. And you know, children are very self-image aware at a younger age. If they have a really fun avatar and they have a really fun alias, it makes class more fun too. And we're going to do a lot of giggling. In fact, I'm putting this video out unedited on purpose because I want you to see, even I slip up and make language mistakes in the process of making this video. Even native speakers at the highest levels make mistakes as a regular part of daily life in their own native language. That's why all these video YouTube editors have such high employment, editing out all of the takeouts and edits. And that's also why I will never be editing out my own faux pas when I'm doing these, because the students learn from my faux pas in English as other languages just as much as you do. Students who know they can't be seen or singled out by appearance tend to participate more freely and make mistakes without embarrassment. They're more free to laugh about it. And this is why, as we'll cover in a moment, it's also good. We know because neuroscience studies have shown it makes for a good environment for the brain to learn the new additional language and to become a multilingual brain instead of just a monolingual brain. Now let's talk about no cameras ever for students. This is a firm, non-negotiable policy. Students never activate their video camera. In fact, not once, not briefly, not just to say hi. It's audio only. In fact, those student cameras are disabled by me at the account level before class even starts so that the students cannot turn them on. It's not just a rule we ask your child to remember. It's a technical setting that we control and they have no control over. The only live camera and screen sharing in any session comes from me, the instructor. And the only reason I show, frankly, because as a hermit, I'm not into, as you can see, I'm not into vanity. Yes, the videos online in the channel use the best portrait picture of me possible for marketing purposes, but this is the daily me your child is going to see. I only use and do the live for myself because watching my mouth and how I form the words will help them as they learn and practice how to form the words themselves with their own mouths. And that's the only reason I usually even have my camera live. I also don't want myself to become the focus. I want the content of the presentation and lesson to be the focus. Now, why go this far? Because this is actually beyond the span and scope of what most online schools do. Most online schools don't require avatar non-photos of the student, nor do they demand they create an alias. I do this because a face and a name, once shown on a recording, even if for a few seconds, can be captured, screenshotted, or redistributed to any watching. And in this day and age, that's not something you can undo. We would rather remove the possibility entirely than rely on a child remembering a rule in the heat of the moment during class. So that's why I have such a firm, hard-written setting built into our course and our Zoom classes. Now let's talk a little bit more about what's going on behind the screen for Zoom and how I secure the Zoom classroom itself. Beyond the avatar photo and the no camera system, we also lock down the Zoom classroom by way of cybersecurity and child safety protocols that child safety experts recommend. Here's what parents should know is happening behind the scenes. Every class requires a Zoom passcode and has an active waiting room. No one enters the live session without myself, the instructor, having personally vetted them by audio and by their avatar, their email, and their alias name before personally admitting them into class. I vet the students before allowing them in. We check each name showing up in the waiting room and that it matches as an enrolled alias and student before letting them in. The meeting is locked once everyone has arrived, so no one can slip in after class has started. If a student arrives late, they will need to wait in the waiting room until I reach a pause moment while I've told the students to be working on something and go back into the waiting room to let in any latecomers. And if they arrive after a certain amount of time, they will just have to watch the video 24 hours later and make up as the class as an absence. Now, the other thing, screen sharing is set to host only, myself. Students can never share their own screens, which closes off another way personal information sometimes can inappropriate content could accidentally appear. Students cannot rename themselves once admitted. Their chosen alias is locked in for the session, even for the school year. So no one, student or outside visitor, can switch identities mid-class. Chat is restricted. We do not allow open student-to-student private messaging ever. All messaging is done in a way that is seen by every single person in the classroom. This closes off a channel that some bad actors use to solicit personal information from students. And frankly, it also closes off a channel where some students actually use to distract themselves and to gossip or chat rather than paying attention to the lesson themselves. We never reuse a plain guessable link. Each class uses a unique meeting ID rather than a recycled personal meeting ID. And we never post that link, meeting ID, or passcode anywhere public. It only is sent to the email addresses of parents who have enrolled at the parent email itself. And using a blind CC method, which means that no parent ever sees the addresses of any of the other of the enrolled parents. None of this information ever shows up on social media or on a public website. And if it is ever found that a parent shares any of this information in any way, that is grounds for immediate dismissal from the academy. Even if that parent already knows the other parent because they're person-to-person friends and they know that other parent is enrolled in the school and their children are enrolled. If any parent needs information or links, they must contact glynbarbbenedictine at gmail.com rather than trying to go and contact with each other. This information is only ever sent by direct private email from us, from glynbarbbenedictine at gmail.com, to enrolling parents. Now, what we ask of you at home. Online safety is, after all, a partnership. Here's what we ask every family to do on your end. First, enroll and communicate through your parent email, never a child's personal email or account. Zoom itself doesn't permit independent accounts for children under 16. And keeping the account tied to a parent adds a layer of parental oversight and protection. Next, have your child join class from a common area of the house, a kitchen table or living room, rather than a bedroom, so you as a parent can see and hear what's happening without hovering. Turn off smart speakers and voice assistants in the room, Alexa, Google Home, Siri devices, in the room during class itself. These devices listen continuously, and there is no reason for a class conversation to be picked up by one. Have your students use headphones when possible, so lesson audio and their classmates' voices don't broadcast openly into the room. Never, ever, ever independently record, screenshot, or redistribute any live or posted class session. This will be grounds for immediate dismissal for the entire family, never and as permanent dismissal. The Academy controls all recording and editing specifically so that safety review can happen before anything is shared in a separate, and having separate unreviewed copies defeats that entire purpose. If it is ever found that anyone breaches this rule and protocol, they will immediately be disenrolled. Next, never post or share the Zoom links, meeting IDs, or passcodes anywhere. Even if you know personally another family who is also enrolled, have them contact me rather than you share the information with them. So again, never post or share the links, meeting IDs, or passcode, including on social media or homeschool group chats. If you know another family who wants to join or who has lost their copy, tell them to email our email address, enrollment email address instead, and we will reissue the links. Now, what we owe you, a few commitments that go the other direction, protections you can expect from us. We will never hold a one-on-one private session between an instructor, myself, and a single child alone. Every live session is a group class. If any individual help is ever needed, it must happen with a parent present. We do not collect your child's real name, birth date, home address, or photo anywhere in our enrollment or classroom system. And you need to make sure your children know that they can and never reveal that information during any class itself. They need to make up, if we talk about a location or their hometown, for example, they need to make up a hometown, not use their own. The only personal information we hold in our system is the enrolling parents' contact email. This mirrors the data minimization approaches the Federal Trade Commission recommends for protecting children's privacy online. We will never publicize your children's enrollment, your enrollment or email for that matter, your alias, your child's alias, your avatar, your child's avatar outside of private class rosters. And that class rosters are only ever accessed by myself. Now let's talk code of conduct. Behavior. Every student and every parent agrees at enrollment to a simple standard: kindness, respect, and Christian charity towards one another. The students for each other, me for the students for myself, you as parents for me as a parent for you, me as a teacher for you, all the directions. We are all held to the same standard. There's a zero tolerance line for foul language or abusive language, whether it be toward the instructor, toward another student, toward someone outside in reference, a public figure even is not allowed. And especially nothing irreverent regarding our faith and those in our faith and our holy saints and Father and Mother and God. Any in time that there is any impact or breaking of this rule, it will result in immediate disrollment from live classes after even a single violation. There is no warning system for this specific offense. This is a Catholic learning community built on respect, and we protect that atmosphere without exception. Now let's talk about if something goes wrong. We want you to know what to do if you ever have a concern, a technical glitch, a behavior issue, or anything that feels off. First and foremost, email us directly and immediately at glynbarbbenedictine@gmail.com. Every concern will get a personal response. If Zoom itself fails on class day, I will most likely issue a mass email, blind CC'd group email to all parents about the Zoom failure or the delay. If it's an outage or a logon issue, if there is information about if I am sick, for example, we will always have a backup plan communicated to you by email, so no family is left guessing. You will check your personal email that you used to enroll your student for that type of communication. If your family ever sees something on a live class that shouldn't be there, please tell us right away. Part of why we hold every recording for 24 hours before posting is exactly so these things can be caught and corrected. Now something I hope that you will tell your children and will help them right away in making this a successful endeavor: attendance, makeup work, and grading. If your student is absent from a live session, they are expected to catch up using the later posted recorded lesson before rejoining the next live class, unless they, I'm usually a little liberal about that, but I do expect them to watch the makeup class once it is posted. This keeps everyone moving together without anyone falling permanently behind. Now, grading. Here's the big one. Let your students know this up front. We do not issue grades. We just don't. I don't believe in it. In language learning especially, the presence of grading often gets in the way of real, full language acquisition, because the act of grading itself causes anxiety and makes the children less likely to participate, whether it's in writing, in speaking, reading, or anything. In language learning, you have to understand that all of neuroscience has proven to us it's not even a matter of academic question anymore. Becoming multilingual and foreign language learning is a biochemical process in the brain. It happens organically, and your children are doing something that is biochemical in nature. Students, just like babies to toddlers to young children, students self-correct over time with practice, 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 practice. And if they are inhibited because of grading, they will be much less likely to participate in this teaching endeavor. So, like I said, students will self-correct organically over time as long as they remain interested and motivated. In the same way that their first maternal language and their spoken language naturally became more polished over time as they used it. We will practice, and through practice and laughter, when I make a mistake, they'll correct me. If they make a mistake, I'll correct them. It is a no pressure, low anxiety, and there will be no red pen marks and no judgment of any kind. So it's meant to be. The more they practice, it's the better. The way I became fluent when I lived in a foreign language desert back in the 70s and 80s was I had a buddy who was going through the same French classes I was, and we would go to lunch and we would make the most gross language mistakes. We would be like, oh, say in French, I eat. It should be je mange, or we would say something like moi mange. But over time, it smoothed out as our brains developed the biochemical process that was learning for a language, because language learning is a natural cognitive process for the human brain. It evened out and became polished over time. And this is exactly the approach that I use. When your children reach French and Latin 3 and 4, we will probably start the year with a proficiency test that gives them a timestamp snapshot of where they are at the beginning of year 3 and again at the end of year 3, and the same for year 4 and the end of year 4. But during years 1 and 2, it's just about learning, and we don't want them to become intimidated. Now, a quick note about the last slide when I was talking about the proficiency tests for year 3 and year 4. The only reason we'll do that is as students are more closely approaching a time when they would want to apply to colleges and do advanced placement testing out of a foreign language, that would be given only for that purpose, so that they can see how far they've progressed over time with us and how close they are to being able to test out of initial year 1 and year 2 college courses in the foreign language. So that's just a PS, a postscript for the last slide. Now let's talk about what you'll need at home. To join live class, your family's going to need a couple of things. Number 1, a device with Zoom installed. We can help you get set up with that as part of the enrollment process. You'll need a stable internet connection. Headphones, if possible, are highly encouraged. There are 2 textbooks, actually 3 I think, that will be used off and on this year, and we've shared the ISBNs in the description for all of our videos, and this video too. These are the language textbooks that we will use to supplement the daily Bible verse readings, as well as the Lives of Saint content, the Hail Mary, the Our Father, and other Latin and French prayers. Now, the used textbooks are purposely designed, and I bought a large year edition where there was a mass production. A high number of these textbooks were published. Therefore, there are a high number of them on the used textbook market. I purposely chose those years because that means that high edition years are more inexpensive, and the used copies are widely available at Amazon and used textbook websites. We intentionally chose those editions so they're easy for you to find secondhand and to keep costs low for your family. Your children will also need pen and paper, because nothing is ever typed in our class. Everything they will do always and must be doing handwriting. All neuroscience shows that handwriting and using handwriting at all phases of the language learning process activates more parts of the brain and imprints the biochemical cognitive language learning process more quickly into your child's mind. It will accelerate their fluency and their proficiency. So having pen and paper, or having a dry erase board, slate board, that they can erase from if they want to just reuse. And they will be doing homework, and then the next day we'll be checking it. So they will be having written work. That's very important. And even if most of the work is an oral exercise, I will be asking them to write it down, because that's a part of the learning process. Now, fees. What you do not need is to pay money for this. I am a Benedictine hermit and retired professor. This is my ministry in life now at this phase of my life. The Academy operates on completely voluntary donations to cover our Zoom and software subscriptions. We do not ask them families money for tuition and tuition fees. Everything will always remain free. We will have fundraising that we're going to develop, and we will welcome donations and super chats on our live streams that we do for the parents only and for other non-school and YouTube super chat and thank you donations in order to cover our production costs, but you, the family, will never be asked to pay anything. Now let's talk about parent-teacher meetings. Just as the students have live classes, we will be holding periodic parent-teacher meetings. Expect them roughly quarterly or once a semester, twice a year. These are designed to give an open floor for your questions, to walk through any policy updates, and to hear directly from you, and for you to hear from other parents about how things are going. Now, that doesn't mean you have to wait for those meetings. To send a question, a good idea especially, is always welcomed, and any suggestions are welcomed. You can send those at any time to glynbarbbenedictine@gmail.com. And in fact, those types of emails will probably form part of the agenda for the live meetings when I hold them. When we have those meetings, you, the parents, will follow the exact same avatar and alias rule and conduct expectations in these meetings as your students do in their classes with me, because consistency matters at every level across this academy. Now the big announcement, the start date, which of course I've already revealed in a spoiler. But this is what you've been waiting for. Our live classes begin on Wednesday, September 9th, 2026. This is the first scheduled class day, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, whatever that Eastern Time for the United States might be, whether it's daylight savings or standard. And it will be September 9th, 2026, first class day, 4 p.m. after Labor Day on our academic calendar. It will continue at that same time on every scheduled class day going forward per our academy calendar. Our academy calendar will be emailed out monthly or every other month with all of the links for the different days showing all of the holidays. Our class does not meet every single week. For example, our class we will never have, our class days are only Monday through Friday. Our class days will never meet if it is a rogation day or an ember day. It will never meet if it is an obligation mass day. So in other words, November 1st will never meet. Marian obligation days of obligation we will never hold class. Any fasting days we will not be holding classes. No federal holidays. The week between Christmas and New Year's will always be, and we may even have the Christmas vacation may even extend before Christmas to a little after New Year's to give people time to travel back and forth. Easter week and the day after Easter Sunday will always be a holiday. The week before 4th of July, the week after 4th of July, and various 3 to 4 day breaks throughout the summer will always be will always be no class days, and but there will be at least the standard for the academic public school system is around 180 class days per calendar year or school year, and we will make sure that we actually will be having more than 180 days per year. So, knowing that, to enroll your student and receive your family's private Zoom link with school calendar, you need to email us now at glynbarbbenedictine@gmail.com. You'll receive your enrollment details, your child's avatar and alias setup walkthrough, and everything you need before that first class. But you will not receive that information unless you enroll. Now, in closing, let's recap. Your child will never be seen on camera. They will never use their real name or photo. Every recording is safety reviewed for a full 24 hours before it's ever posted publicly. They're posted publicly so your children, if absent or on a family emergency, can make up absences for children who enroll late to make up before they join live classes, and for parents considering enrollment to be able to see how the school operates as they make their decision on whether or not to enroll. The Zoom classroom itself is locked, passcode protected, and shared only privately with enrolled families, never on social media, never in public. And our community stands on one simple foundation of Christian respect with zero tolerance for abusive language. We build this system because we believe your child deserves both a rich, joyful Catholic education in French and Latin and complete peace of mind for you as their parent. Now that all this is said, I encourage you to enroll today at glynbarbbenedictine@gmail.com. I encourage you to go to YouTube to Haven House Hermitage Benedictine and Language Academy and subscribe to the channel, where there are more videos that give you even more details. I also encourage you to send any information or questions to glynbarbbenedictine@gmail.com that you might have. And I ask God bless you and welcome you to Haven House Hermitage Benedictine and Language Academy. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on September 9th.